If you just opened up NBA 2K26 and you're already struggling to time your shot, struggling to dribble, passing the ball slow, I could almost guarantee it is due to some settings that you need to change. So let's talk about them. What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Risk, and I am back with another banger. And man, does that feel good to say while on 2K26, man. It's been a long time coming. But for that being said, though, y'all heard it in the intro. We're going to talk about the best settings in NBA 2K26. And I'm not going to waste you guys' time. We're going to get you guys in and out of here very quickly. So let's get right on into this video. But before, like always, if you're new, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any uploads, as we're going to be uploading tons of build videos, informational videos, all kinds of videos. You're not going to want to miss it. But yeah, let's get into these settings. So obviously, there is a few categories for settings. If you go here just normally, in your options, and you go to settings, here, you're not really going to find too much. One thing I would recommend, take off camera shake. It is on by default. This could be a little annoying at times. So take that off. And then if you are playing mycareer, make sure all this stuff is off. Your highlight play, after basket, all that, turn it off. Is going to make your games go a lot faster. But other than that, not too much here. Where you're going to want to be going here is really to your controller settings. Now, we're going to go setting by setting. We're going to go through it very quickly, though. But I'm going to point out, obviously, the very, very important ones. Shot timing, layup timing, free throw timing. Obviously, this has to be on. I don't even know what would happen if you turn this off. Don't touch those. First important one, shot timing visual cue. By default, I believe this is on release. And this is why I see a lot of people, when I'm going in the park playing people, I see it's their first game, they're earlying shots, lating shots. And it's because they forgot to change this and it's on release when, for I believe the last 2 to 3 2Ks, ever since this has been a setting in the game, push has always been the way to go. It's the most realistic towards your actual release. So make sure you put this on push. Now, everything else here, don't worry about that. Pro stick function, pro stick orientation, all that is good. But last one here, brand new setting in 2K26. Another one people are kind of looking over because it is a new setting. Passive dribble hand switches. By default, this is enabled. What this means is that it is randomly going to be switching the hand that your player is dribbling with. Now, this can be very, very annoying, especially for the guards out there that are dribbling the ball, most of the possession. But even for your centers, you don't want the ball randomly switching hands. It's going to give you different animations. You just don't want to do that. I don't even know why it's a setting. Make sure you disable it. Going on to passing, a lot of this stuff you can keep the same. Now, obviously, pass target, direction, distance, openness. This really, I don't think there is a best setting for this. I think it truly is a personal preference. I usually don't touch it. But if you're somebody that struggles to pass and you have the ball in your hands a lot, you could, jank up the openness. But just know if you're playing a 5v5 mode or something, it might pass you to an open guy behind you, So it is a little bit tricky, something you could play with if you really do want to adjust these settings. But me personally, I don't touch them. I don't think it's necessary. Just icon pass and you'll never have an issue. But as you keep going down, another brand new setting in 2K26, auto lob to moving receiver. What this does is it automatically will be enabled and kind of lob pass, when somebody's moving to the basket or something like that. And it'll be like this super slow lob pass. Again, another setting that I have no clue how it made it to the game or why it's enabled by default. But make sure you disable it. If you're seeing your passes are slower, you're seeing those archy lob passes, this is 100% why. Or obviously if you have low pass accuracy. But I can guarantee this is one of the reasons. So make sure you disable it and you won't have to worry about that. Now moving on to off ball, none of these settings you really need to adjust. Defense, same thing, a lot of personal preference here. Some people like to turn off who to guard. They say is going to make it, when you have this off, your arrow's off, you have more control over your player. I don't really make it that big of a difference. And I think it's kind of nice to have the arrow, the reminder who to guard. So I would keep this on. But again, that is going to be personal preference. Another big one here, vibration, turn this off. It really does mess you up. It's not helpful at all. The vibrations sometimes are delayed, especially based on the console or controller you're playing on. It is just not worth having it on. I would turn it off. You should already have it off on your controller by default, but just in case, turn it off here. Another personal preference setting here, box out assist. Now this one I would say is a little bit less personal preference because I do lower it a bit. I think on default it's like at 50. I lower it to kind of 30, 25, play around in that range, because what this does is when you're going to box out, kind of automatically, the higher this is, kind of drag you to the person, which you would think, you would want it higher to actually help you get box outs. But sometimes it's going to drag you all the way to a guy, in the corner, not the guy you're actually trying to box out. And some people play with it on 0, but then the problem with playing it on 0 is that you're going to actually struggle to actually grip, your box out to them. So that's why I kind of play in the middle ground, 25-30, but this is something you could play with and really only matters if you're going to be a center. And yeah, that's pretty much it. In terms of, settings, I don't know if you would consider this settings, but customize HUD is another big one here that I would kind of just go through briefly. Shot meter, this is where you're going to turn off your shot meter right here. Visibility for shots, turn it off. Layups and free throws, I would recommend keeping it on. There really isn't a big bonus to having those off, and you kind of really need to see those meters to help you make those shots. And then here, the only other important settings would be shot feedback, visibility, all shots. This is going to allow you to see at the top, you see timing, coverage. You want to see that information. It's going to help you base yourself, on your shots if they're good, bad, etc. And on default, the placement's actually at the bottom for some reason, so I switched it to top center. Like normal in every 2K, see it at the top. And then distance, personally, I like having distance off because when you turn distance on, I feel like it's too much going on at the top of the screen. You really do not need to know the distance. So I always turn this off and just make sure your coverage is on because that is the most important thing. But other than that, that is every single setting that we just went through. And again, if you do not change these, you will struggle and be frustrated when you first open up your game. So if you change these settings, you'll be good to go. All you need is a good build and just have fun on the game. So with that being said, it's your boy Risk. If you haven't yet, drop a like, drop a sub, hit the notification bell, set it to all notifications so you can be notified every time I upload a video in the future. And yeah, it's your boy Risk, and I'm out.